we're actually at war with the cybercriminals. We're under constant attack. You can't ever relax. You can't ever, let your guard down.
What's our key things evolving, and then in terms of the understanding of small and mid-sized organizations to implement cybersecurity as well?
People recognize the consequences of getting it wrong, and they can be, the end of an organization. The industry, the sector almost has recognized the risk of burnout, right, amongst the security staff, and there's far more focus on mental health.
Have you trialed as an organization, or have you seen, what's your observation on broad use of agents within the not-for-profit space?
The care staff are able to spend far more time holding the hand rather than the pen. Trust the expert, right? Let them know that they've got me and they've got my team of people. We're not kind of asleep at the wheel.
Before we get started, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode of our cutting-edge contemporary conversations. Thank you.
Welcome, Doug. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time today. We would want to talk a lot about tech and the work you've been doing across. But before we go there, can you share a bit of your background and your story?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. So I've been in cybersecurity for a very long time, as you can probably tell from the color of my hair. So and I kind of fell into that industry I'm a chartered accountant by training, and I ended up in the computer audit area, and information security was a big part of that. So that was a very long time ago in South Africa. But more recently, the main defining moments in my career was when I took the CISO role for ANZ Bank. That was really interesting. The banks really have huge budgets, and cybersecurity is an absolute non-negotiable. And I learned a lot. And then more recently in the not-for-profit space, working for Uniting, again, because of the vulnerability of the people that we care for, looking after their information is also non-negotiable. We don't have anywhere near the same kind of budgets, though.
Yes. And it's when you travel across continents and you work within the public service across countries. So what's the broader parallels you can draw between New Zealand and Australia from a point of view of public service and in not-for-profits and charities?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's actually quite interesting, and New Zealand has a couple of quite difficult challenges, right? One is the size of the economy and the number of people, and the other is the geographic isolation, right? So everything costs a lot because it's difficult to get there, the population size really limits their ability, right? So it's a large country with difficult topography and stuff like that. So the essential services are expensive to operate. So the economy is really quite a lot. Yeah, it is certainly nowhere near the affluence of Australia, right? And I know on the global scale, Australia is quite small as well. But certainly it's substantially more opportunity here. As a result of that, I think the not-for-profit sector in Australia does better as well, because again there's more government funding and there's more wealth, which enables kind of the economy and the population to support the not-for-profit sector here better. Those are probably the main differences.
From a tech audit point of view, and from cybersecurity, so you got involved into charity organizations, so oversee cybersecurity. So what have you seen the evolution of cybersecurity in the last 4 or 5 years? And what's our key things evolving, and then in terms of the understanding of small and mid-sized organizations to implement cybersecurity as well?
Yeah, so this is an incredibly exciting time to be in tech, particularly cybersecurity as well. Just the things are moving so very fast. So the last 5 years, we've seen an absolute sea change in terms of the importance and the relevance of cybersecurity. It's now a very significant board level risk that's carefully managed. I'm getting far more exposure to the board, having far more support and people are leaning into the conversation. I think the breaches that we've seen, people recognize the consequences of getting it wrong, and they can be the end of an organization if you're not careful. Particularly in an organization like the banks and like Uniting, we're built on trust. And so if a breach erodes that trust, it absolutely affects your ability to continue to operate. So that's probably a big change. The other really big change is the industry, the sector almost has recognized the risk of burnout, right, amongst the security staff, and there's far more focus on mental health and well-being now than there was 5 years ago. There've been topics at conferences on mental health and burnout, and it's one of the key things that I focus on with my staff as well, because we're actually at war with the cyber criminals. We're under constant attack. They're constantly probing, and you can't ever relax. You can't ever let your guard down.
So as you are interacting with the boards, so what do you see are the biggest sensitive topics from a board point of view? Not just cybersecurity, but broadly AI.
Yes.
What are the key things they are considering and thinking about on a regular basis?
So boards are really trying to understand how they can make the best use of AI, right? The conversations are really quite healthy. They're not just focusing on the risk and the downside. They're focusing on the opportunity as well, right? Because it's another form of risk that there was an opportunity that was made available by AI that the organization didn't jump on, you know what I mean, and missed the wave and fell behind. And the benefits of AI are huge, right? I think organizations are limited only by their imagination now. You can do almost anything with it. It's trying to find something that you can turn around quickly that doesn't expose the organization to too much risk, but is really beneficial. And we've done some really exciting stuff at Uniting in that space. So what we've done as well is the board, in response to a board question, I now look after AI governance as well. So we repurposed what was the Data Governance Management Committee to become the Digital Governance Management Committee, so the same acronym, and it looks after security, privacy, AI governance, and data governance combined, because there's huge synergies behind that, and the output from that gets reported to the board on a quarterly basis.
Because organizations like yours, Uniting, they are sitting on a lot of information and data, and in this conversation of not just AI and cybersecurity, but generally data sovereignty is a key issue. What are your views from a point of view of a large provider within the care sector or healthcare sector? From a data sovereignty point of view, what are the key things to be considered?
Yes.
To be thought through, to be laid out, to have a good data management or data planning?
Absolutely. So one of the risks with AI is what data do you share with it, and what happens with that data once it's gone out. So how we've managed that We've done a lot of work around classifying and tagging all of our sensitive data, so that we're aware of where sensitive data is kind of uploaded into AI. And we block that. But before we could do that, we enabled an approved path, if you like, which is the Microsoft Copilot capability, because all of that data is retained within the Microsoft tenancy. So that's how we overcome that. So. And rather than saying no to the business who want to use these tools and get the benefits from them, we can say yes, of course you can do that, but this is the secure, safe way of doing that, right? So I do my best to not be the Department of No. It's yes, in this way is the way we manage that. And from a data sovereignty perspective, all of that information is retained in the Australian data centres.
Because employees are using multiple AI tools and all the time. And there are tools which are, some people are using multiple AI, so they will get one to work and then use the output from one to throw into the second one, to redo it, and then to test it or qualify it.
Yes.
And then that output will be sent for the third AI tool to find flaws and faults and all of that stuff.
Yes.
So how do you manage? It's called Shadow?
Yes, yes, that's right.
Shadow IT or Shadow AI?
Shadow AI.
So how do you see that behavior with workforce, and how do you manage? Because you can't stop generally at a larger scale. How do you do that?
Absolutely. So what we've done is by default we block all AI, particularly the upload of sensitive information. But where there's a good case for people to have access to multiple AI, we create exceptions. So what we've done is exactly what you're saying, right? So the vast majority of staff can use Copilot, and that's the approved path. And you can upload sensitive information into that because it's retained within the Microsoft tenancy. But if you want to use another AI engine, and we use Gemini quite a lot, there's a process where we enable that for staff, and we provide them with training around what data can and can't be put up there and stuff like that. And we tend to then it's actually quite a good conversation with the person that wants to use it around the risks of exposing the sensitive data, and how to anonymize data before using it, which is how we overcome that particular problem.
The evolution of AI now has evolved not just to being used as a tool to go back and forth, but using agents of different kind. So have you trialed as an organization, or have you seen, what's your observation on broad use of agents within the not-for-profit space, and then what kind of agents are being thought of or planned to be deployed?
So yes, we've actually all of our we've got a primary tool, if you like. It's called Buddy, the digital assistant, and that's the platform that we're doing all the AI agents through. And what it is, there's a couple of very powerful use cases that we've already implemented, and we've got a whole innovation think tank area, if you like, or innovation lab that we busy building that out. But the first iteration of that was to expose policies and procedures. Because Uniting has multiple different service lines, our policies and procedures are very difficult to navigate, because you've got different policies for different lines of business, and the staff were really struggling to find out what was relevant and stuff like that. So what we did was we exposed all of those to a natural language AI agent that enables the staff to just do natural language queries, voice to text, and it trawls through the policies and procedures. It's context aware. It knows who they are, what business unit they work for, and what facility they're at, and then provides the response to that in terms of answering that question. And we were blown away by how powerful these actual responses were. So we. So that was very successful, and it was a great start because it was something quite small, contained that we could do without exposing to too much risk. And then off the back of that success, we've built a full mobile app that are in the hands of the staff, and what they can do again, it's really leveraging the voice to text and language translation. So in any language that they like, they can record. Kind of session notes from their interactions with the person that they're caring for, and it translates that into English and populates the actual clinical care system. So we're getting far more comprehensive notes. We're getting far more face time with the people that we care for, right? So the care staff are able to spend far more time holding the hand rather than the pen. They don't have to take time away from caring to interact with a keyboard and screen, right? Which is not the best use of their time.
And so, what's the percentage you have seen increase of direct care time versus admin time?
Yeah, so it depends on the different areas, but there are some the high end. We're looking at 2 hours a day saved. It's incredible because and that's in the home and community care space, because they're not having to come back to the office as well to record those notes. So we're saving many hours a day for over thousands of staff. So it's huge.
There's some tools being trialed on social isolation for elderly Australians or people who have mental health, and then some very much niche, very specific tools or agents, you may call them.
Yes.
So how has your observation the usage of those kind of social isolation tools within Uniting?
So we've looked at it, but it's not something that we've really explored because. Again, there's quite yes, there are definitely benefits, but there's I think there's an organization, a societal perception associated with that.
Okay.
That I think the society needs to take more. Needs a little bit more time to get used to that idea, and there are kind of well publicized examples of where the output from these haven't been ideal, particularly in the mental health space, right? So we're a little reluctant to go into that, So again, there's we've done something that's similar in terms of dealing with the geographic isolation of people, but we haven't done the actual kind of robots or kind of companion buddy type things that you're talking about.
But is the broader sector trialing with these kind of tools?
Yes. Yeah. There is people that are experimenting with that. It's not going to be long before the reliability of those is really good, and it'll be worth implementing. But right now that's still right on the edge of kind of where the technology is.
Has implementation of AI within for the workforce, which is non-care workforce, what are the typical use cases from an AI point of view, beyond using it as a prompt tool to what policy they should be referring to? Yeah.
So the probably the most powerful one for the back office function is rostering. So we it's again because it's quite computationally heavy and very very time sensitive. So what happens a lot is somebody on a particular shift calls in sick. And so then the duty manager for that particular shift has to look at what are the skills and capabilities of the people that are on that shift, and what gaps this person not attending leaves, and then find staff members that have those skills that are available to fill that shift, and literally at a moment's notice. Often the shift's already started by the time they're having to do this. So it's an extremely time pressured and quite kind of technically complicated thing to do, and historically most of those shifts were filled with agency staff because they've got the capacity, they've got good records of the skills, and we historically that's how we would fill those shifts, but that comes at quite a cost premium compared to using in-house staff. And so we've built it's called Roster Buddy. Everything's called Buddy, and it basically solves that problem. So the staff member says, this person's called in sick. Find me a replacement, and it knows everything else. It knows about the other people that are on that shift. It knows what the requirements for that particular shift. It knows the capabilities that all the staff in its database have, and it'll provide a list of people that have the skills that are available, and then the manager can phone around and see if anybody's able to take that shift.
As an organization, or how do you see broadly when people are having those time savings? So how are you accounting for that, as in terms of, one is time being saved, but are you creating more efficiencies or giving people more time to do other things, or are you expanding the role description, or how is that, or somebody can do more things at the same time? Are the jobs being lost, or are you creating more meaningful further roles?
Yeah, so
or expanded?
Yeah, there's absolutely no reduction in headcount. That's key. And so primarily it's improving the quality of care. So again, under the Aged Care Act and off the back of the Royal Commission, there was the requirement to record care minutes, so the actual number of minutes that the carer provides, kind of with the person that they're caring for, and so we were able to track using care minutes. And see the improvement, and we're absolutely seeing more face-to-face time as a result of removing some of those back-end things. So that's the main change is that the existing staff are able to spend more time actually providing care. And then the other benefits which are huge is the quality and consistency of the note taking and the recording of observations and clinical notes has improved, and the handover from one shift to the next is greatly facilitated because the data that's available to be handed over is just far more robust than it's ever been. So those are the main benefits, and the best metric is in those care minutes.
What do you see the overlap of AI and cybersecurity, the conversation, because I think they're very intertwined. You can't talk about AI without cybersecurity conversation. Yes. And one could see that people are only talking about AI, not just the cybersecurity part of it. So how do people get more understanding that they are strongly tied to each other?
Yes. So and that's a very good question. So what we've done at Uniting is by combining the governance of those, right? So I look after AI governance as well, and so I bring a very strong security lens to AI governance. But the problem is that. The security problem that AI generates is that you've got these autonomous agents that have access to huge amounts of data at actual, kind of at the speed of light, right? So they can do malicious things really quickly, and so the time to breach is substantially lower, and so you absolutely have to get it right from the start. And where the intersect is at Uniting is in terms of identity management, is with all of the traditional, kind of human-based, role-based access and understanding, all of those kinds of things, you have to do exactly the same for AI identities, right? So your machine identities, making sure that they only have access to the information that they need to do their job, and then also looking at the behavioral analytics like you do with humans, just to see when they misbehaving or possibly being abused.
Implementing, large organizational transformation from an AI point of view and cybersecurity both. So when people, how do you take them on a journey? Because not all the boards, not all the senior leadership are very much understanding of the whole, and things are evolving that fast, so that the speed of implementation should match the speed of change on the other side, and the possibility of opportunity loss in one way. So how do you, so when somebody's starting greenfield, so how do you start having those first conversations in terms of interacting with the board and the senior leadership? What is the context setting? How do you implement fairly quick transformation projects?
So it's really it's a change management activity, right? It's making sure that you understand the audience that you're talking to, and that you've got a very compelling answer to the why should I care and what's in it for me, right? And so it's helping the different levels of the organization. They're going to have different concerns. They're going to have different ideas. There's a little bit of addressing the fears of the uncertainty and the unknown and what this can be, and also talking down some of the hype that's out in the marketplace around this, and kind of talking people back from trying to go too far or do too much as well. So it very much depends on the audience, and it's taking people on that journey, making sure that they kind of buy in, they understand the impact on them, understand that they're not going to lose their job, that this is actually going to make their job easier. They're going to be able to do more of what they like to do and want to do, kind of at the workforce end, and then at the senior end of the organization, being able to articulate the guardrails that you put in place to make sure that we're not creating unnecessary risk.
But that changes the role of a CISO/CTO into a more a leadership kind of a more of a and a change manager role rather than so they come with a tech background, but they have to be more of a change managers and storytellers.
Yes, absolutely. So I think the days of your technology function and even your security function being, kind of in the technical weeds and all of those kinds of things is long gone.
Sitting in the server room.
Yeah, that's right. Kind of with a hoodie on. That image is definitely not the case anymore, right? We are change agents and the
leading ones.
Yes.
People who are leading the change.
Yes, absolutely. So and it's interesting because even in my original role, kind of 30 years ago, having my deep technical capability it was almost entry stakes to in order to be able to have the conversation. Even back then, it was interpersonal relationships and being able to get your point across and understand the audience and understand what motivates them and what's keeping them awake at night and providing that assurance, right? That's really I'm almost like a technical counselor.
Technical counselor. Very interesting. Care workforce is overall long-term challenge for the sector. The care workforce is always limited, and the different sectors trying to absorb the same workforce and the same pool of workforce they're getting onto. The new people who are coming into the workforce, they are already AI enabled. They have already used AI tools, whether in the university or whether in school curriculum in some way or form. And then delivering care is a different mindset versus delivering, quick speech to text
Yes.
case notes, and then using the tools, using the tablet or using the phone and all of that stuff. So using tech easily is one skill set, but delivering care is another skill set.
Yes.
So how do you see of the incoming or the fresh workforce joining your organization, or your observation of the new workforce which is coming along? What kind of skill sets you are seeing which are
Yes.
added and what are reduced? What's the balance?
Yeah, no, that's interesting, right? Because each generation brings a quite different mindset in terms of how they understand work and their use of technology and all of those kinds of things. So that's a very good point. Fortunately, right, being a purpose-led organization, people that want to work for us, our purpose resonates with them, right? So that's why they want to work for us, and so caring for the disadvantaged in society and the value that we add to society and to fabric is something that really resonates with the people that are coming to work for us. So we've already kind of are attracting the people with the right mindset to be able to provide that care and support, right? They want to make a positive difference in people's lives. But to your point, the tech that they come to expect in the actual workforce is quite different. And 2 years ago, before we had Buddy and stuff like that, our use of tech was a detractor, and the staff that wanted to interact with technology as well struggled with our kind of quite limited use of technology, right? So particularly the care staff didn't have their own machines. They would share, kind of a machine in the nurse's station and stuff like that. And so it was quite a bad user experience. Now with Buddy on the mobile, that's their front door portal as well. They can get into looking at their pay slips and applying for leave and all of those kinds of things on the same device. And it meets their need for having technology in their hands as well as providing the physical care that they provide.
And what's the next iteration of, because things are evolving that faster in the AI space, and you're receiving more attacks than in the previous years. So what do you see in terms of the guardrails and the protections to be secured today, so that the next 2 years, one is you use the best technology and tools available to grow faster as well, but keeping not being so vulnerable to attacks on the same point? Yeah,
so what the future holds is interesting, because again, things are moving so very fast. It's quite hard to predict where we're going to end up. So a lot of what we're doing is keeping our kind of ear to the ground to understand what others are doing in the sector and kind of what's working, what's not working. Also, to that end, recognizing that the head office staff particularly don't have the real depth of knowledge and experience around what problems are happening kind of at the coalface. And so we've set up this innovation incubation lab where anybody in the organization, right, so the full 13,000 staff that we've got can propose an idea around how the use of AI particularly, but technology generally, could be used to solve a particular problem that they're facing in their day job, right? So we've got 13,000 people that are looking for opportunities. If those all come, get assessed, the ones that we think really are quite viable and feasible, we will get that staff member, give them the training, give them the budget to be able to build a proof of concept solution. We'll give them the technical support that they need as well, and actually see, and then the winning thing that they'll get a prize and the recognition for that, and it'll be added to kind of the Buddy platform. So that's how we're trying to kind of stay ahead of what's happening at the coalface. In terms of the security and risk side of things, what we're doing is really making sure that wherever there's a probabilistic process, there's a deterministic QA at the end of that, right? So that's loosely referred to as human in the loop. So we're making sure that there's always a final human QA of the output to make sure that things don't run away from us, right? And also because ultimately we're a human-based services organization, we need to make sure that the human stays involved in that process.
And in conclusion, if you can give some form of advice for senior leadership and board executives, how can they become more comfortable with the change? How might they can be more comfortable with the change, and what kind of things they need to understand and then get themselves deep into so that they get comfortable?
So probably the most important is to embrace the technology, right? So to spend time using it themselves, understanding kind of the way the industry is moving, and I think largely probably the most important thing is to really trust the expert, right? And that's primarily what I find my role now at the board and the ULT is to let them know that they've got me and they've got my team of people, and give them visibility around what we're doing to make sure that we're protecting the organization, and the externals that we've got involved as well, so that we're not kind of asleep at the wheel, that there are people watching for these kinds of things that they can rely on, and just be available for questions, right? So it's two-part answer, I guess. One is embrace the technology, use it yourself, and become more familiar with it, because that deals with the fear of the uncertainty and the unknown, and then also recognize that there are people within the organization, like me and my team, that are actively watching for this, that they can get some assurance from.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks a lot.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for your time.